Good afternoon, this is Zeman Offshore with the Offshore Law Firm, coming at you with another video. I know I've been promised about this video and I've gotten a lot of messages asking why it wasn't up yet. So here it is, and this is going to be for employers. And I wanted to take time to talk about that today in lieu of the fact that President Trump also just signed the stimulus bill that went from the Senate to the House, almost unanimous, and then Trump signed it. And so I want to talk about, my focus is going to be on the small business side of that. And right now, traditionally, especially like in Texas, for example, traditionally what employers can do to take advantage of, or to not lay off their employees, is basically take advantage of this shared work plan with the Texas Workforce Commission. And I urge you to take a look at that. It's a way to keep your employees on partial, but what we've got with this bill is even better. So what happens is they've provided $350 billion in funding in order to help small business. And small business doesn't mean mom and pop shops. It means anybody basically under 500 employees. So what they've done is, of that $350 billion, I think $17 billion has been set aside for people with pre-existing SBA loans. And those pre-existing SBA loans can be for 6 months, basically. They cover those loans to kind of help the business and the employers get back into the economic mix, I guess, for lack of a better word. So other than that, there is also been set aside, I want to say $10 billion. And that $10 billion has been set aside to provide grants. And these grants are going to be up to $10,000 is going to be the max for each payout, and that's going to be for immediate operating costs, and that's a $10,000 grant. So the other thing that it's talked about for the rest of that $350 billion is going to be small business loans that go out to the individual companies. Now, these loans are basically up to $10 million. The max is $10 million. And the cool thing about these loans is that they're forgivable loans. And if not the whole loan being forgivable, at least a portion of it is. And the portion that is basically used for payroll, for any kind of mortgage, for any kind of rent payment, any of those things that are used to cover, if you use any of the funds to cover any of that, you can essentially ask for that to be forgiven, so long as you keep employees on the books through June. And so at that point, if you are able to keep employees on the books through June, and then you can take those funds in addition to all the other expenses and stuff that I just enumerated, and then apply for those to be forgiven. So now that we've gone through that, I also got a lot of questions about that stimulus check and how the breakdown was. And I promise I'm going to put up something this afternoon regarding the breakdown. So basically the chart that I'm going to put up will have, it's going to be done in $10,000 increments, but for simplicity's sake right now, let's say for every $1,000 you make above the threshold in your particular column, you're going to go, your check will be reduced $50. So I had an individual call me and ask me and say that, you know, that this individual was a single parent and they were making $100,000 a year. And $100,000 a year, but this as a single parent with 2 children. So she asked me, what would the particular check look like? And of course, so what that check would look like for that individual, because at $100,000, they're $1,000 above the threshold to get any money for their individual. But since they have 2 children, those are 2 $500 checks. So that'll be $1,000. But since she's $1,000 above the threshold, that check would get reduced by $50. So the total check that she would receive would be a $950 check. So that's just an example. It's more in detail that I'm going to put on Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to try to put it on Instagram. If not, it'll be on Facebook. But if you have any questions, send me a direct message. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. And stay safe and have a nice day.